For the Late AM Show, I'm Jack Roach.
And I'm Jennifer Roach.
And please remember, when you hear a joke that makes you laugh, to hit like and subscribe. Now, on to the news. Our top story this week, GOP Rep Matt Gaetz is being investigated for sex trafficking underage girls. Allegations include him paying a 17-year-old girl to travel with him. Gaetz, of course, denies the allegations, saying that he paid women for sex because he is a generous lover, which is not what that phrase means. A lot of discussion surrounding the accusation center on the fact that the age of consent varies across states and that a 17-year-old might not be illegal. One, that changes when one pays her to travel across state lines. And two, the number one way to get on my probably a sex offender list is to start a sentence with, sure, she was under 18, but...
Yeah. Gaetz isn't the only one popping cherries early. Japan's Kyoto cherry blossoms have hit the earliest in the 1200 years since the date has been recorded. Scientists say this is compelling evidence of climate change, but it sounds to me like they're just rushing to get their beach body ready this year.
Poor trees. A poll found that for the first time, less than half of Americans say they belong to a house of worship. Researchers say this is part of a generational decline in religious identity, while my grandpa blames it on the MTV.
A study says that spending a long time in space and endurance swimming can shrink your heart. Also on that list, being married for 20 years.
Don't have to be. Another week, another scandal in the Biden White House. Major Biden, a 3-year-old German Shepherd, bit someone else, this time hard enough to require medical attention. This is such a nice change of pace to talk about drama at the White House and no porn stars are involved. Although now that I mention it, reports didn't indicate who was bit. Just saying. On top of that, one of the Biden dogs dropped a deuce in the White House. Major and Champ both denied the deed, but Joe hasn't.
The NFL is adding another game this season. Teams will now play 17 games rather than the usual 16. In addition to the schedule change, to reduce the controversial kneeling, the national anthem will be replaced with the cha-cha slide.
Everybody to their feet. Amazon is so desperate to avoid unionizing that they're creating fake Twitter accounts that only talk about how great it is to work at Amazon. Seems like there could be an easier way to avoid unions, like paying more and improving working conditions. When you have to send out memos saying, hey, please stop peeing in bottles and leaving them in the trucks, a tweet that says free donut day probably just isn't going to cut it. The MLB has pulled their 2021 All-Star Game out of Atlanta in response to Georgia's new voting laws, which they say are super racist. Governor Kemp, when you're so racist that baseball says, nah, that's un-American, take note. Kemp blamed the move on cancel culture and liberal lies. Yeah, every liberal I know is always at baseball games. We just can't get enough. Also in the South, Alabama is keeping their ban on yoga in schools. Parents say that yoga and meditation lead to Hinduism, and I don't know, it just stops there. When was the last time you heard something bad about a Hindu? Are these lawmakers so convinced that Christianity is just a fad that some light stretching will lead grade schoolers to convert? Or is Hinduism actually awesome? I've never actually heard about anyone converting to Hinduism. If I had, I'd probably just shrug. I think we should drop that and address the real problem in schools: pairing puffy jackets and fanny packs. Meanwhile, in Australia, which has all but ended mass shootings over 20 years ago with strict gun control laws, schools are able to focus on true crimes against humanity: mullets. Trinity College, an elite private school, banned the party in the back, who are we kidding, party in the front hairstyle, saying they were untidy. Also banned rat tails, but that's just because they're ugly. A New Mexico man ran into a grocery store and came back to thousands of bees in his car. Reports say he didn't notice the bees until he started driving away, which makes him the least desirable person to be on your team in the zombie apocalypse. You guys hear that buzzing? Must be that new mumble rap I've been hearing about. A recent tweet from the U.S. Strategic Command, which guards our nation's nuclear weapons, was just straight up gibberish. Thankfully, the tweet was traced back to the social media manager's child, who slammed on the keyboard while the adult accidentally left her computer unlocked, and not what we all feared, that Donald Trump still has access to our nukes. It's mass shooting season in America, and thankfully our government is ready to step in and ease gun restrictions. Georgia lawmakers, just 2 weeks after the deadly spa shootings, decided that this is the time to ease up on those gun laws. There have been over 1,200 mass shootings in the U.S. in 2021 alone, But sure, let's get more guns out there. America is like that guy who has 12 kids with 7 different women complaining about child support, but says sex doesn't feel good with a condom. Hey America, do something. There's obviously a problem, and it ain't that you don't feel safe shopping at Walmart without your piece. A sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. Has set the record for the most expensive video game at $666,000. This was at an auction, which means that multiple people said, you know, this is a very common video game that I'm never going to play. It's worth over $500,000. You know, they talk about FU money. This is F-me money. I actually hope this is a money laundering scam, because otherwise it means that box I threw away on Christmas morning in 1987 could have paid off my house.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, cover model for Are the Whites Okay? Magazine, was the subject of a petition signed by 5,000 Christians saying she was, and I'm paraphrasing, batshit crazy. The Christians were upset that she compared vaccine passports to the mark of the beast. Do you know how far gone you have to be to piss off 5,000 of your fellow Christians by being too dramatic? The mark of the beast is mentioned in the Bible as a sign of the end times, and not, as I thought, an Iron Maiden album. Greene also drew criticism for a video she posted online in which she claims that doing poor form CrossFit style pull-ups is better than a vaccine for avoiding coronavirus. Of course, she got her medical degree from pulling it out of her own butt, so we probably shouldn't take her seriously anyway. Even Sarah Palin supports masks now. It took her contracting COVID to get it, but hey, it's a start. I never thought I'd hold up Sarah Palin as the reasonable one. But look where American politics have taken us. I'm worried that 10 years from now, I'll be saying, you guys, listen to Trump. Speaking of Donnie, he managed to make it to the news this week again. He tried to sanction companies related to a state-run Venezuelan oil firm, but managed to lock the accounts of a small Italian pizza joint and a graphic design company. Now the world is safe from authentic pizza pies and silly logos. Some bunnies on an island off the coast of Wales have dug some previously unheard of ancient artifacts, including tools, pottery, and Mitch McConnell's birth certificate. The rabbits are now being sent to Los Angeles to look for Kim Kardashian's original butt.
Well, that's all the news this week, guys. It's a short week because of April Fools, and we don't need them writing the jokes for us. But I've been Jack Roach.
And I've been Jennifer Roach.
And please like and subscribe, remember. And Jennifer, tell them all about the audio version of the podcast.
Right. If you just don't like video and you'd rather listen to our voice that's telling you the news, you can subscribe to our audio-only version wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Or your least favorite. Let's be honest, some of them suck.
That too.
But until next week, everybody, stay safe, stay sane, and have a great morning. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
So for a minute there, we weren't married when I took my ring off.
Is that what that means?
Did you immediately hop on Tinder?
No, that's you. You would immediately hop on. She's on her way over here right now, isn't she?
Grindr. It's 2021, baby.